I know that manifestation is instant, but a lot of people may not feel that manifestation is instant because they're looking for it from the physical. But you have to see that the true manifestation is when you know for sure within where you're not going to be moved. It's really the manifestation is already done when you know that you are who you want to be, when you remember like, oh, that is me. That is who I'm resting as this within. That is the manifestation. The physical is only the expression of that being unmoved, knowing who you are. The manifestation is always the acceptance that you are who you want to be, the complete and total acceptance of knowing that you are that. That is true manifestation. I really trust in my inner world. Things have happened and negative things have happened and I just haven't reacted before because I think I've gotten to a point now where I just trust my inner world. I just trust who I am. I know that my inner world is the only reality. So just because something moved in the physical a certain way, that doesn't mean that it's the end all be all because it's constantly changing. So what? It's just one moment. So if I get carried away with that, then I'm going to step off my center of who I am. And now the world becomes my source. So I just know that I'm the source. It's within me. The money is within me, obviously, because it's coming out of me, whether it's coming through ideas, whether it's coming through whatever's happening when I'm out here on my day-to-day basis. So I just go on about my day.
Welcome back to the Kotodama Podcast. Over here we explore the mystical, and my guest today is Autumn Cyntia, and she is a manifestation coach. She's a YouTuber. She also has a podcast called Assume the Position podcast, and a lot of her work is inspired by, law of assumption, I am, Neville Goddard, and all that good stuff. And I'm really excited to have her here with me today. Welcome to the show, Autumn.
Thank you so much for having me. I am excited that we get to spend some time together.
Yes, I'm so excited. So I've been a subscriber of yours for a longer time now. I don't know since when I've been following your work. The way you talk and describe these metaphysical, really huge kind of concepts is so grounding. You have a very I love your content. You have a very specific energy. That's why I wanted you on. So maybe I was thinking we could start with what is I am?
What is I am? I am is everything. There's only I am. There's only expression. It's just a statement really saying I exist. And it is this, what people would call God, but it's just a energy, formless energy that forms into whatever you desire, whether that's your manifestation. But it's you. It's the idea of you. It's the idea of me. It's everything. So that's what I am is. It's everything.
So are we to go into these metaphysical ideas for a moment, I was thinking is I am would you describe us being like a thought inside? I think you describe it as we are a thought inside of I am. Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Yes, I teach sometimes from A Course in Miracles. Some of the passages I like, it really aligns with my message and what I talk about when I talk about unity. And there's a passage that says that you are an idea within the mind of the all, which is the idea of autumn is an idea within I am, and it's just being lived out or expressed. So that's the same with you. So it's kind of like God's side quest to be um autumn or to have a certain expression of fulfillment, but it to come up in the experience of someone named Autumn or someone named your name or whoever's watching's name. So yes, it's infinite ways that fulfillment or expression can happen, and all of us are living fulfilled lives to some capacity. So it's just that. It's just we're an idea within I am being expressed.
Okay, I love this because, when we talk about manifestation, there's so many ways that people explain manifestation, the law of attraction, the law of assumption, how to manifest your dream life. And obviously you help people manifest their dream lives. But your approach there is so unique in a way, because how would you tell people maybe someone is living in a situation right now that they do not want to live in? So when we talk, I want you to kind of explain it from this, where we just came from, right? Like from this I am perspective. So how does someone then, I guess, become that person or manifest these things in their lives, even though maybe in the 3D there, I don't know, shit is crazy and I don't know, a lot of stuff is happening.
Yeah. Well, it's really just a choice. Everything that you are experiencing is just an idea. And at some point, you would have had to just accept that that was the case. Like, I don't think we realize like how much of our lives is all really just assumptions. So many of us walk around here living unfavorable lives, assuming that that's just the way that it is, right? So you have to see that everything that you are living has been an accepted assumption about what you believe fulfillment is. And so if someone is living in an unfavorable situation, and I've definitely been there, it's really just about understanding that what your identity is, or your idea of infinity, your identity, which is something that's unfavorable. You believing that I'm not, or I'm separate, not believing that I am, you're going to live a certain experience that gives you a relational experience, because the physical is not the deciding factor. The physical can only give you a relational experience to who you are being within. So this really is the internal. It's really just internal. Your whole world is internal, but it's just giving you a uh, reflection or a relational experience to who you believe you are within. So it's just your identity always being reflected, or your idea of God being reflected out. So it's, you could just choose different without trying to change what is, because obviously it is a fulfilled reality, even though you may not prefer it, but it is a complete reality. So we're not trying to change that. We're just choosing and allowing it to be revealed through us, right? So that's why I'm so big on focusing on your inner sensation rather than trying to change physical reality, because it's always changing. So that means it can't be the source of anything.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I love how you say that. It cannot be the source because it's always changing. So this, you're kind of touching on these parallel infinite realities as well, right? So all of the outcomes already exist. All of the realities already exist. And instead of trying to change, am I understanding correctly? Instead of trying to change the one that you're in right now, you're actually choosing a different one, right?
Yes, yes, exactly. I think sometimes, well, with a lot of clients, or just people I talk to in general, and even me in the past when I was in my worst of the worst situation that I had, it was really because sometimes we just think that our base reality is I'm not, or you're lacking something. And I am never lacks anything. So it's really just, we have this idea that we're starting off in a base reality of lack, and then we have to manifest something to bring us needs. But it's really not that. It's just a misperception, because at the end of the day, if you could see it within yourself, declare it within yourself, sense it within yourself, then what you're believing can't be the ultimate truth. It could be an expression or an experience because you're that fulfilled, but it's really can't be the full truth. So that's why in the Hermetics, it talks about all truths being half truths. So it's nothing about trying to change one. They're all needed to make up the whole of I am. So that's why we're not excluding it. We're just saying, okay, that's for one, a misperception of fulfillment, but also at the same time, it is a fulfilled lived experience, because it wouldn't be going on if it wasn't a complete reality, or if everything wasn't acting in balance for that to be the case. So we're not changing that. We're just choosing what we prefer and allowing that to come through us and responding from our ideal. That's all we really can do.
Yeah, I like how you talk about it because I obviously every coach and every teacher has a different way of dealing with the unwanted. And I feel like you actually talk about acknowledging it.
Hmm. Hmm. Yep.
So how would you do that? For example, let's say someone wants to manifest the love of their lives, but right now they're single. So how would you, and sad, maybe they had some bad experiences to make it more difficult. Like, how would you go about this situation?
Mm. Well, I wouldn't try to focus on changing that particular reality or that particular experience where I've had some bad experiences, because you really don't know from day to day if those experiences really happened. You just are living there psychologically. So you're bringing that and implanting it in every moment to moment. So you really can't say, that's why I don't worry about what was. I'm only focusing on what is or what I'm choosing it to be, right now. So I would choose that, a different idea of myself first and foremost. I'm never trying to change anybody else because, of course, life is responding to who I believe I am within. So if I'm resting in a new idea of me, now my only job is to deal with the physical from my ideal, respond to it from my ideal, because it's what's coming up within me. So when we're saying it, it's happening through you. It's being revealed in you, through remembering it, imagining it, or hearing it, or whatever the case is. And the more that you respond from that place, your lens gets wider and wider and wider to see what was always there, because everything you want is already here. It's just being veiled based off of your idea of fulfillment, or what you believe you are, what you believe you're not. So you're just putting on a new lens, and then your lens gets wider the more present you are.
So
So it'll just show itself. Yeah.
sorry, yeah. So then what I want to say is, I mean, so you talk about remembering, right? So you're not actually becoming anything. Everything already exists within I am. You are just remembering that you already are that which you want to be. I mean, you already are it, kind of. So you're just remembering that.
Yeah. 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 That's really what it is, because, again, a passage from A Course in Miracles talks about how the world was over long ago. What we're living here is just a replay, or infinite ways that something could have possibly happened. They all exist. When you imagine it, that means it does exist, right? So we're just here to see infinite ways that success could happen. Let's say if someone defines themselves as successful, like for me, I always identify as a successful person. And so it's not about the fact that the contents have changed around my success when it comes to different businesses and things like that. The identity is still success, but of course there's going to be different experiences to how that could have possibly came to be. And so I'm just open to the possibilities that could be, you know, a success or an experience of success. So it's not that you need to make anything happen, because you really can't make it happen. It's already happened. You're just allowing, imagining and remembering a possibility, or you're choosing it. And the more that inner being within is like, yeah, that really is who I am. That really is what I do. You just allow it to kind of happen. For me, like, I have so much trust in, my inner world, that I don't really try to get so much involved in the unfolding. My day to day life is just, I'm doing what I'm doing, and I get the inspirations or the nudges. Sometimes you run into it, you don't even know that, you were running into your physical manifestation that day. But that's just really what it is. We just block the flow by believing there's someone here with needs, and you're like, oh, I got to get something for this particular version that's in lack. But I am can't be in lack. It's just experiencing. So yeah, it's just dropping that separate doer in the middle that's keeping, everything you want from you.
Yeah, because it sounds like you're kind of just allowing it. So you know how often, I mean, everyone who's watching, maybe they know, maybe they have never heard of this, but people say, in the manifestation community specifically, just don't get caught up in the how it will manifest, in which ways it can manifest. Why do you think that that's important? I mean, you talk about just allowing, let's say you identify as a successful woman, now just allowing in whichever way that wants to express itself in your life, almost like, as you said, not blocking or not telling the universe or God or yourself, it has to come in this specific way. You don't do that, right? You just kind of go with the
Right.
flow, kind of.
Well, see, there's things, like, a lot of things in my life that I've wanted. I have to remember where I was when I wanted them, what state I was in. So there's things that I thought would save me, like certain businesses. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do that business because it's going to make this much money. But I was coming at it from a place of lack. So of course that really wasn't what was going to bring me fulfillment. And it wasn't until I said, okay, well, I already have the identity of being a successful businesswoman. I know I have the experience. I've seen it countless times. So I'm just going to allow what the next expression of fulfillment, what that would be like. And it always starts off with, let's say, this channel that I have, and the clients that I have. Like, I never went out and said I wanted to do that. It was just at the time the inspiration came up for me to put videos up of things that I've been backlogging from my understandings. And I just wanted to do it for myself. So I did it for myself. And then in that experience, it has unfolded and became what it was on its own. I didn't go seeking for it. So anything that I am just willingly does through me is always successful and it's always easy. It's never something I had to fight for. So anytime my success is in a business of some sort, it's something that just happened. It was never what I said that I want that to be a sort of business or something. It just happened, you know?
Yeah, that's oh my goodness, that's like riding the wave of the universe, honestly. I feel like a lot of people, me included, I often want to like control how exactly and I think we can. I don't think it's not that we cannot do that even. I think it's
Mhm.
possible even to kind
Yeah.
of choose even in which way it comes, but the way you're doing it is easier because
Mm.
it's you give the universe, you give I am so many more possibilities in which way it can come to you instead of saying, no, it must come in this specific way. You know what I mean?
Yes,
You just,
exactly, exactly. And I had to learn that. And, I'm not saying that it's easy, but I think I was at a time in my life at one point where that was the only way it was gonna happen, for me to get out of my situation. I was like, well, obviously, I don't know exactly how I could even begin to get out of this. And I just was like, you know what? Like I have to allow, but I just have to see. I really had to see that my inner world was the only reality. And I'm like, I just have to trust that. And so from getting out of that situation, like, effortlessly, when I finally just let it be what it was, like, it took me, like, 3 weeks, and I was, like, already back to kinda, like, where I was before. It was just I had a deep misperception of self. Sometimes we go through things, and it makes you have a certain misperception of self, of, like, that you could lack in some sort. But when I remembered who I was like, if I try to get in the weeds of trying to fix this, I'm just gonna keep defending it. And I'm like, well, if it's no longer my story, I just cannot defend it. I just have to trust whatever's coming up within me and allow that to kind of like be pushed out through me and follow it, follow the inspiration. And a lot of it didn't make sense, but it happened, you know?
yeah.
And I think too, something to what you said about, getting the things that you want. I have a lot of things that I wanted, like my dream car and all of those. But the thing with that is sometimes you think the order it's going to come in is just not the way that it comes in. Like, I was talking about this earlier on my membership channel, but it's so funny because I thought that when I got my dream car, it was gonna be like, let's say 5 years. I was like, okay, like I have this business that's doing well. I'm like, okay, well maybe in 5 years I can get it, is what I was thinking. I was like, because I'll have the money for it, like completely for it then. And it was so funny because in a few months after that, the car came up on its own, like, and it was just like there for me to get. And I was like, well, I guess we're getting it now. And so I got the car. And then 2 weeks later, the money I wanted to make started coming in. So it's kind of like the way that it came, had I would have been like, no, I got to wait till I have the money and all that. But the car showed up like so effortlessly. And like, it was just crazy how it came together. And that's when I realized, like, oh, the way that I thought it was going to happen was like, it happened so quick compared to like the timeline I had.
Yeah, because we have this like logical human, I mean, we have this human logical framework of how we think things can manifest. So as a human, you think the car can only manifest through money, but there's actually millions, probably billions of ways a car can manifest, but we cannot conceive of them. So I love that
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, yeah, when I tell you, like, I didn't have to put anything down on the car at all. it was just like I could drive off with it. And I'm thinking, okay, it's a luxury car. Like I'm thinking, I don't know. It's my first luxury car. I'm like, I don't know. But they were like, oh yeah, you don't have to, here you go. Here's the keys, sign. Like, and it was just like, wow. And it was just crazy because I had got my exact end scene that day when I got my dog the same day, and it was my total end scene. But I was thinking it was going to be like 5 years ahead. And it was just like, no, it's happening. It happened like by the time I really decided, okay, I don't know exactly how it's going to happen. At that point, it had been like 4 months, and then it just happened. So you just never know when.
Yes. Okay, I want to talk about time because I know you talk about revision as well. But before we do that, I just want you to clarify what you mean by fulfillment.
Fulfillment is Fulfillment is just what you are. I think we have a misconception of we only take fulfillment to be what we think is as good things happening. But even your what you call unfavorable circumstance is a fulfilled reality or a fulfilled perception of what you believe, who you believe I am is. If you're saying I am not, then you have a whole bunch of things showing you that you're not the source of your life. So I take fulfillment as, because they work together, that negative helps you to perceive more of what you want. That's what contrast is here for you to expand your perception of what fulfillment is, for you to see the truth of who you are. So that's what's happening here on the 3D. We're going to have that contrast. So I don't look at it as something that's bad. I had to change my perception of that. And, so once I stopped seeing it as bad, I was like, oh, it's just not preferred. And I'm going to choose what I want. So fulfillment is everything. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's so cool because it's kind of like, yeah, it's actually that's a super deep concept. Again, you could write a whole book just on that. It's like
Mhm.
that contrast is just here for us to realize what we do not want. And
Yes,
I,
to
I don't,
recognize the truth of who you are. It's really to wake yourself up to yourself. Like for me, when I went through my horrible time, it was just like, it was just one day. It just clicked for me. It was like, that really couldn't have happened to who I really am. Like it couldn't have happened to I am. Yes, it happened to the character Autumn that believed she was in lack, but to who I really am, like that never touched me. And it was just like this click of like that just can't be the full truth of who I am. And it just, my lens just got wide, and I was like, yeah, I just remember who I am. I am fulfilled. And it's
yeah.
just, we're just living inside moments, babe, thinking we're, just because a unfavorable moment happened, we take that moment and we give us a new identity of, I'm not the person that I want to be, rather than seeing that's just one chapter but not like the whole story of who you are. Yeah.
Yeah, and we also often, when something unfavorable happens, we kind of make it mean something about us.
Yes. Or you just accept it. You just accept that was the case. You never said, is that true? Could that really be the whole truth? We just accept it. We're like, oh no, that's the worst thing to happen. But when good things happen, we're always like, are we sure? Like, are you sure
Oh my
that is that
God,
easy?
we are so brainwashed though in this society, right? To believe. I mean, I talk about this in other episodes as well, but I do really think we are brainwashed into, when people, even we have these phrases, right? I lived in different cultures and even in different languages, every kind of culture has a different way, but every culture has it. It's like this, it's too good to be true, or don't say, don't share good things, the evil eye or whatever. Do you see that? I
Yeah,
have it
yeah.
just here from Turkey. Like things just, people are almost like raised to be superstitious and to not believe when something good happens to them, you know? And it's so sad. So I love how you talk about it. But okay, wait. So let's talk about revision for a moment. So when you said, did this really happen? Or is it just what did you say? Like psychologically something in or like, so how would you describe revision? How would you describe time? And how can understanding that time is not linear, which is something we often talk about on this podcast, I love it. How
Okay.
can that help us manifest? And yeah.
I think when it comes to, well, first I'll talk about revision. I love revision. Revision is just choosing. What people don't understand, I think, because a lot of people like to revise certain things that may have happened. And yes, that's totally fine, but you have to realize you're revising your identity or your idea of who you are in that circumstance. So let's say, for instance, you got into a, because I know a lot of have clients that do this when it comes to like relationships. Let's say you had a bad breakup with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and it was just like so bad. It was so bad, and the worst of the worst happened, and you keep replaying that back in your head, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, like I wish I was still with that person. We're broken up now, but I wish I was still with that person." And when you go back to revise that, and you want to revise before that event where you guys started arguing happened, you know, you can perceive or imagine that it went differently. But what most people don't do or take into account, they don't choose from a different identity. They're just revising the scene, but they still feel like the person that doesn't have their person. So you're choosing from the identity that you would have preferred to be, that, you know, we're in love and I'm love and of course this person loves me and I'm chosen. Then you would have perceived the whole conversation from a different point of view. And so you could have only seen that the conversation went the way that you wanted it to go. Because if you could imagine it going the way you wanted to go, how can you really say for sure that it happened the way that it happened? It only happened in that moment, but then it passed. So you're only carrying it psychologically. You're only living in that psychologically, and you're creating it in every moment when you're living there psychologically. So who's to really say that that happened in that way? You can't say.
Okay. Yeah, kind of shifting your okay. So that means, like, let's say someone sits there and had a bad fight with their girlfriend or whatever, boyfriend, and then they're like, they revise it. So what you're saying is to also revise the identity or change the identity with which you're experiencing that
Mhm.
past event. So instead of just saying, no, that didn't happen, and actually we had an amazing dinner, whatever we did instead, you kind of understand like your self concept in that moment, that you are that person who that couldn't even happen to, or like how would you go about
Right,
that?
right, right. Well, if you think about revision, I always talk about it's only one energy happening right now. I am is only one energy being reshaped into other expressions of fulfillment. So it's kind of like if you were looking at it on an axis, like you were that unmovable circle on the axis, like, but then the line just is shifting wherever. So you're just changing the point of view. So if you're that solid base, you're just moving your point of view, your perception of yourself across the axis. It's the same one power, but you're perceiving it through a different perception of self or fulfillment, whether that is loved, chosen. So now you can see it through the lens of chosen. You can see it through the lens of love. You can see like, and it comes with a certain, because that version comes with a different past and a different future.
Exactly. But this is what freaks me out sometimes about revision, and I've done it many times before. It's like people sometimes don't even remember it happening. And then
Right.
I'm like, it didn't. It didn't. In the reality, whichever reality I'm in right now, or
Who you
in your
are, yeah,
words, yeah, I guess it
it
would
could
be
happen.
yourself, or your, how would you describe it? Like your, I would say reality, but what would you say? Like you're in the self concept that you're in right now, or in the assumption that you're in right now that didn't happen to you.
The assumption that you're in of who you're being, then obviously if you were looking at it from before of like, I'm not chosen, like say you got into a fight and you had that whole stance of when you were fighting them that I'm not chosen, this person doesn't care about me. That person has a different past to where all they can remember is them not being chosen. And so they have a future where they can only perceive them not going to be chosen. But if you were revising it from like, oh, like I've always been chosen, I'm loved, this person loves me, like we have an amazing relationship, you can only recall the memories of being chosen and shown that you were loved. And that's a different past. And then you have a different present and a different perceived future because your lens is what's scanning for what's already here. So you would only be able to pick up even the conversations where before you could have saw it as not being chosen, you would perceive that conversation from a different angle. You
Yeah.
just want to perceive it like that. Or even if, because it's not about if the actual event did happen or didn't happen. It's really not about that. It's, are you meeting the moment from the version of yourself you would like to be? So, because it doesn't matter what you're imagining or what you're sensing within. Are you meeting the moment from who you would prefer yourself to be?
You mean that moment that happened in the past?
Yeah, yeah. Because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, again, it doesn't matter if how you imagine it. It's just, are you meeting it from being who you would have liked to be?
Oh,
Because
so
you're
instead,
having that experience with yourself. Remember, there's nobody else here but you. God talking to God here. So you're having this experience with yourself, even though you're arguing with your partner, you're arguing with yourself, you know?
my
So it's
God.
that. That's
So
why yeah,
sorry,
go
go
ahead.
on. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. That's why I just never really worry about anybody else when it comes to anything that I want. I'm always just knowing that I'm talking to myself. So it kind of like makes certain situations easier because now I can walk into any situation and feel like there's no other person I'm talking to but myself. So
Yes, yes. Everyone is a fractal or is God, right? Is a thought
yes,
inside of
yes,
God's mind. But then how you're describing it is really interesting. I've never thought about it this way. This means you could even go into that fight in your mind, right? That
yeah,
happened, and not even change what happened. Just change the way that you
exactly,
perceive yourself in that moment. So
yeah, yeah,
like it
yeah,
doesn't matter. He loves me any whatever. She loves me anyways. He loves me anyways. Like
yeah,
I'm always chosen. It doesn't matter what happens. Like you could
exactly.
just do that, right?
Right. And that's usually what I do. Because again, sometimes it's not about what is happening, it's about who. It's about who's perceiving, right? So for me, I'm always just considering my idea of self. Anytime I want to solve something or because now I've gotten to a point where I don't see anybody as separate from me in that sense. I'm just like, okay, like, cause you and me are here right now. We're having a conversation about, source. But I'm just thinking, okay, like where I'm having a conversation with myself, expanding on more ideas of what we together are. And so it makes it more open rather than like it's you versus me or me and you and it's someone outside of me. There's a lot of performance when it comes to that. I'm just like, we're just vibing, you
Yeah.
know? So yeah,
We are. We literally are.
yeah,
I kind of look at it sometimes, even with time or with even we can use an assumption. I want to know how you think about this, but I often look at it as if it was like a ball, like a mirror ball. And you're like, because time isn't linear and even your assumption isn't of who you are is not fixed. Like you could choose in each moment, which there is only one moment of now. So you could choose now to just perceive yourself in a different way, right? So what would happen is you would just shift. So you would not become a different ball. You would just shift on that one ball that you are. Does
exactly.
everyone understand what I mean? And
Yeah,
then like just focus your attention on here instead of here. Do you know what I mean? Like that's kind of
yeah.
how I.
Yeah, that's exactly how I perceive it too. Like you're moving around on an act, like because what you're saying is the ball is I am. It's the only thing that's unmovable, and that's what I want people to see is that I am is the only thing that doesn't change. Like you have to see the thoughts change, emotions change, circumstances change. All the phenomena happening in the world is moving, including the body. So all of that is changing and moving. So that can never be your source. So when you're looking out there for something to happen it's always moving. So it's depending on your mood is depending on if something is doing what you wanted to do. Because the moment it moves and does something you don't want it to do, now you're like moved. You're getting carried away with the physical. But if
Yeah.
you were just resting in like knowing yourself as source, like I've already decided, I'm locked in on who I want to be. Yeah, I know myself is chosen. Then it doesn't matter what's happening out here. You're going to consult you're gonna
Yeah.
assault the position of who you are within, and that's how you're leading. So that's
Yeah.
really what it's about, is being unmoved.
So, but you do take action as well, right? So you do take inspired action. You kind of go with the flow, but you just don't fight. So let's say you want to manifest money, and then you see, I don't know, maybe you look at your bank account and you don't see what you want to see. How would you? I want to know your internal monologue there. Like, what would you think?
Well, I always say it means nothing. Like, what does it mean? Because I think we just want to place a meaning on it. Just because we see it, we want to place a meaning on it. I don't. See, here's the thing about money, and I was recently talking to a client about it. Like, I think we get concerned about money because our terms of what we believe abundance is so narrow. We only consider it as money. And so for me, money started coming in more when I started thinking of abundance more than just financial. Like, I have an abundance of time. I get to do whatever I want all day. I can write all day if I want to. I can do, like, I think about all the ways that my life is abundant now. I'm not tied down to any one specific place. I can get up and go wherever. Like, once I started seeing that that is my abundance, that's also an expression of abundance, then money becomes the same as those other terms. It's not better than my time that I have to write all day. It's not better than the fact that I get to spend time with my dog or to go home to my family when I want. Like, it's just a expression of abundance. So
Yes.
it's not the end all be all. We just take money as that's the way that we signal abundance, and it's so narrow to who you actually really are. So yeah.
Yes.
So yeah. So but when it comes to money, if I saw a certain number in my account, like, I'm never quick to really judge the physical, like, when I first see something,
Wow.
because I really trust in my inner world. Like, I'm just not, things have happened and negative things have happened, and I just haven't reacted before because I was just like, I don't know. It's just now, I think I've gotten to a point now where I just trust my inner world. I just trust who I am. I know that my inner world is the only reality. So just because something moved in the physical a certain way, that doesn't mean that it's the end all be all, because it's constantly changing. So what? It's just one moment. So if I get carried away with that, then I'm gonna step off my center of who I am. And now the
Yeah.
world becomes my source. So I just know that I'm the source. It's within me. The money is within me, obviously, because it's coming out of me, whether it's coming through ideas, whether it's coming through whatever's happening when I'm out here on my day-to-day basis. So I just go on about my day. I already know I'm abundant. If I could perceive a certain amount of money that I want in me, I want that. Money, yeah, but I just go on with my day. Like, I get up, I take my clients, I go do what I need to do. Like, I just don't place any heaviness on what's happening. Just get on with life and just be
Yeah.
open.
Yeah. It's kind of, it reminds me of, I think that I want to talk about meaning because you mentioned it. And I think it's a genius topic that people don't talk about often enough, because I think as humans, we're always looking for meaning. And I think we always assign meaning to everything. And actually, from the point of like, I am a source, I don't think there is meaning, honestly. And I don't know if this sounds like crazy to people or sad, but to me, it's very freeing. It's like whatever, nothing intrinsically has meaning except you attach and assign a meaning to it. Someone could look at um at a breakup in a positive way, and someone could, we would do that all the time, by the way. We look at breakups in a positive way all the time, and we look at them negatively all the time. So it really is about what you decide, what it means for you in your own story of your life that you kind of make up internally, right? Like, yeah, what would you say about meaning? And yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's not so much it's not so much the meaning, it's the judgments that we make. Because we like to judge everything as final just because it showed up that this person, when they said that, they meant this. And we take everything and we're constantly judging the physical. But it's like you really can't judge because you don't have the complete view of how it's coming in to be. So it's like you're wasting so much time being in the middle, trying to figure out, what did this person mean when they did that? Why did this happen? And the job is doing this, this, and that. And all I'm concerned about at that point is just, who am I being? Like, that's the only thing I look at when it comes to that. Like, everything else is doing what it's doing. It's rearranging. I have to allow it to. Like, you just have to give it space to do that. It's only gonna mirror you. So of course, when it's changing and it's shifting, it might be a certain moment something shows up and it may look a little unfavorable. It may look a little, but you don't have the full range to see. You're not looking through the eyes of infinity. You don't know what that path of least resistance looks like. So there's no sense in trying to figure it out. You just get caught up and get carried away instead of being at the end, resting in who you want to be.
Yeah, that's really, yeah, it's so difficult though sometimes, right? To detach from the time as well and be like, I want it now. I want that thing. I decided that, for example, you decided you wanted that car, and someone else could have maybe stressed and like be like, oh, why isn't it here yet? Or why is it, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
how do you feel about that? Like you don't care about, you kind of just trust that it will come, whatever your new assumption is, and you just kind of go with the flow and focus on different things. And
hmm Well, I think this is okay, so I know that manifestation is instant, but a lot of people may not feel that manifestation is instant because they're looking for it from the physical. But you have to see that the true manifestation is when you know for sure within where you're not going to be moved. It's really the manifestation is already done when you know that you are who you want to be, when you remember like, oh, that is me. That is who I'm resting as this within. That is the manifestation. The physical is only the expression of that being unmoved, knowing who you are. The manifestation is always the acceptance that you are who you want to be, the complete and total acceptance of knowing that you are that. That is true manifestation. And everything else is just the expression of that. So we're talking about time here, in this sense, when it comes to time, you know that you're dealing with ego when you believe that you're trying to manifest a certain event to save this version of yourself that's in lack. So, for instance, if you're manifesting money, you want the money to save this version of you that's sitting over here in lack. That's why you take time into account. But if you already knew that you were the source of your life and you were fulfilled, then you would know that I don't need an event to save me. I can just only express what I am. So you're no longer waiting for something to save you or an event to come pull you out of lack. You know that there's no middleman here to save. You're just being and expressing. You're just allowing the money to be there, to
yeah,
be expressed.
yes, I love how you describe it, because we could also look at it from the other point of view of maybe a woman who was completely born in wealth, but she's miserable. Why? Because internally, she just, has that assumption, has that identifies as a person who, I don't know, whatever is going on in her life, right? But I think it's like when you like reverse engineer it, is what I wanted to say. Like it doesn't really matter, I guess, how, like what we really manifest or not. It never is about the outside, right? Like even this is why these rich and famous people are so miserable often, right? And over here we see a lot of people who are like, I want to be that, I want to be this, I want to be that, so that I am happy, so that I feel better. But what you're saying is, no, manifestation is instant. So the moment you decide, I am already successful, I am already happy, or I am already fulfilled, the outside will come anyways. But even if it doesn't come, or even if it comes in a different way, it doesn't matter, right? Because the feeling inside is the source, I guess, right? Would you say it's a
It's the
source, or
knowing. It's the conviction. Like
yeah,
that's why I feel like I notice with some of the work I do with my clients, I notice the ones that really change and they don't look back is when it finally clicks for them that the manifestation is not the physical object. Like it's just not. Like so many people are waiting for that physical object to come, but they keep moving their stance. One moment they're like, "Oh, I am that," but then something happens in the physical. They're like, "Oh, I'm not that anymore." So you keep moving. It's really when when you're unmoved, when you're like, "No, I am the source. Like I know it's within me. If I'm imagining it, I know that it's within me. It's not out here. It's actually within me. It's coming out of me. It's being revealed through me and through my experience of already being the one that has it within. So it's really understanding that your internal world is the only reality. So it's the true knowing of that.
yeah,
That when you're rested in that, then time is just the unfolding of experience of being. Like think about it. I always tell because I was talking to a fellow author the other day, and she was kind of talking about some things that she was manifesting, and I was saying, it's kind of like when you're writing a book, you're not going to say that you're an author when the book is published. Like, no, you already know that the book is done. So when you're writing the book, it's just for the experience of being an author. That's what I am is here for the experience of being an author. So of course, that's what the unfolding is, for you to write the book, to be the author, to have the experience of being the author, not when it's already done at the end. When you finally get the book at the end, you're like, oh, like that's the manifestation. No, the experience of being is what can only be true within, what has already been accepted within, that I'm an author. So you're gonna have a relational experience of being an author. And that's just writing a book. But you were an author
Yeah.
before before the book became published. So you're just experiencing being. That's what time in this physical is for, to experience what's already true within you. That's it. It's not for to get something. It's not to be on a journey to get something. It's to experience what's already true.
My goodness, I love how you explain it. Like every time I listen to your stuff, and like I sometimes, when I don't work in a 9 to 5 anymore, but when I used to work in a 9 to 5, I would like listen to your YouTube podcast. I'd be like, oh my God, I love how she explains it, because you have this very unique way of bringing the point. You know what I mean? It clicks. It makes really a lot of sense. So I guess another thing I wanted to touch on is when you realize that you are I am, which, I feel like religions call this like blasphemy. And like in New Age, everybody's like, you are God. And they just kind of accept that. But when you realize that you are I am, you are part of source, or you are source of your reality, of this universe, how do you feel about deserving and worth?
Um, I guess I could kind of describe it like, I think so many people don't realize that when you're experiencing fulfillment, it's kind of like what we were just talking about. Like it's always yours by your right of consciousness. Like it's not that something you deserve something because you're source, or you deserve something because you did. It's yours by right of consciousness, by knowing who you are. Like nothing is withheld from you. But I think so many people wanna they feel like they need to be deserving of some sort, or like to get certain things, but you've already won as being source. Like you're not like there's nothing here for you to like try to make something happen. Again, like I was saying, if you're trying to make something happen, then that's why it doesn't come, because it's already something. You're here just to experience it. Like, you don't need to try to, like, be deserving of anything. You're just here to experience being fulfilled. If you're already fulfilled, you're just here to experience the many ways of being fulfilled. So nothing is withheld from you. You don't need to try to make it be something. You just enjoy it. Enjoy the unfolding. Enjoy the process. Like, you're just deserving of it by your right of consciousness. And you're just willing to have that open experience with it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like the self-concept as well, right? Like understanding that you are loved, basically. You are already love. Like there's nothing for you to prove to anybody.
Hmm.
But the outside world is so crazy. You know what I mean? Like Autumn, you know what I mean? Like everybody's so crazy outside sometimes, right? And then, I mean, I have wonderful people around me, but you know what I mean? Like the world is not like you come here and it's not like, it's not just like shits and giggles. I mean, it's like very much, we get this like all the time, right? Like this feedback. So for that feedback loop not to happen
Why wouldn't
anymore.
it be crazy though? Like, why wouldn't it be crazy? Why wouldn't it be looking like a horror movie sometimes? Like, that's like so I think it's just so crazy because it's like that's a part of the game, like in the 3D. You have to think about it. I am art I always tell people, if you could imagine anything, if you can inner sense anything in this world, then you already know that it's instant for who you are inwardly. But because it's instant, I am is like, look, I just want to have an experience of a possibility of how that could have come to be. And so, of course, when we come down here and it looks like a horror show, or like there's things going on, like it's just, a sleight of hand. Like it's just an illusion, a sleight of hand of like, contrast, so that way so you're like, oh, okay, like maybe not that door, like, but you're imagining something else for yourself, or another way, or you follow this other way. It's really just here to guide you all of it is here to guide you to the fulfillment or of that experience of being. I am just wanted to know what it was like to experience and what that possibly could have looked like of how I could have got there. I could have got there in a million and one ways, but let's see like how it could have happened in this way. Like that's what we're
Yeah.
here for. It's not to that all of this is serious in that way. Like it just to me, because to me it always just looks like, yes, I understand like it's very real experiences going on, and I've been on both sides of it. But I really think that it's just we all go through that. The ups and downs, the pendulum swings and all of that. Like everybody's going to go through that. Nobody is getting out of here not experiencing to some degree of that. But it's just we're here along for the ride of the experience of being, of falling asleep and waking up and remembering again who we are. Like it's just that's why it's kind of they call it kind of like the cosmic joke because nothing could really touch who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, yeah, I love how you described that. Do you have like do you remember when was the first time you really realized this stuff works and you woke up to that yourself from that slumber?
Um, I honestly will say that I kind of just would always study it or I kind of would have knowledge of it. And there's been little things here and there that I've done, but I really understand it now because of like experiences that are so polar opposite of each other. And and I think that's just where I feel that all of my wisdom that I know now has come from that actually going through a real what I would consider a negative experience and coming out of that like fog. Like and as soon as that happened for me, I started having a different understanding in the way that I talk about it. So that's just where my understanding comes from living polar opposite like lives from like having it all then losing it all and then having it all again and more than I had before, and it just realizing how much of it was kind of like some misperceptions of self and then kind of everything that I know now. Like, of course, I knew a lot of stuff going in, but it was very surface level manifestation. But it wasn't until like actual real life experience where I was like, oh, like now I see what this means and why the inner reality is the only reality. So it's just experience that has taught me all of this real lived experience. So yeah.
So do you like look back at that of you in the past having manifested like really difficult circumstances and noticing how your inner world was different then, for example, for of how it is now?
Oh yeah, and sometimes I kind of laugh because like I said, I think sometimes we don't realize how much we just one day woke up and assumed it was negative or assumed that life wasn't good. Like I could kind of see so clearly where just started waking up and just started assuming like the worst of the worst. Like, and I never second guessed it. I just let it that be the case. And because I try to get clients to think like whenever you do get something that you want in life or something kind of goes your way, it's just you have to really think you just assume that it was that way. It was just one day, one moment you don't really realize you just assume that you had it and you just let that be the case. You just stop fighting it. So it's kind of like the opposite. I had to give up that version of myself that believed it was successful to die to that self to remember the version of me who didn't have, or wasn't fulfilled. So it's kind of like you just had to give up the idea of self to pick up another. Like you just one day we all just did that, whether it was for good or for negative. It was
Yeah.
just an option.
Wow. Damn, this is so deep. And every time I'm like, oh, when I listen to you, I need to like internalize. I'm trying to like soak it in, while you're talking. I was going to ask something. Do you have something where like some sort of quote or some, because the way you explain things make things like click, for people and for me as well. So do you have that maybe lately where you read something or maybe a longer time ago where you really clicked, like something that described this whole thing, reality, manifestation, I am, whatever it is, in a way that really clicked for you? Like, do you have something like that, or maybe a quote that you're going back to?
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, I have so many of them, and believe it or not, like, all of the things that I really know that have really clicked for me have literally come from the Bible. And yes, I grew up very, like, in church when I was a kid, like, up until, like, I was 8, but, even after, there had been a period of time in my life where I was just trying to search for myself. I could kinda look back and kinda remember, like, a few years where I would just study all different kind of religions and things like that, and, like, got into, like, manifestation and Neville Goddard and all of that, and, A Course in Miracles, but again, the Bible probably was, like, all the stories, the allegorical stories from there, like, going through my own experience, I could read the whole Bible now and see it from a different, like, metaphysical point of view. Like, it's so crazy. I see it way different than, um when I grew up, like, it just like, after going through that experience, I was like, "Wow, I just do not see this book in the same way." So that's I think a lot of my teachings and my understandings really come from there.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I also love how I'm not Christian, but I love how like Neville Goddard, for example, in his books, right? He takes like a word from scripture and then he makes you look at it from a metaphysical way and you're like, oh,
Mhm.
wait,
Y
this now
Yeah.
this makes sense. Or this now from this perspective, they're talking about manifestation or how to become that. By the way, faith is a thing, right? So that I really, really like how Neville interprets faith,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I have so many, scriptures and so many of them that just, like, resonate so different for me now, yeah, like, but all of it like, the stories in general, like, the stories mean so much more than what, literal than when you think when you grow up Christian, but, like, now I can see it and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that actually meant," 'cause it really is like a psychological, story, all of it is a about your living in your mind and psychological drama, like, it really is, so,
Yes.
yeah, so that's where a lot of that comes from, my understanding, but yeah, like,
Yeah.
quotes, books, the Kabbalion is really good too, I understand a lot of that for my life. It helped me to really understand the physical reality and, like, how, it helped me, like, get a lot of detachment from the physical reality is the Kabbalah and understanding that along with the Bible. But yeah, but also watching the pattern in my life and watching it, actually seeing how it's unfolding and knowing, like, the ups and downs and how to move with them, and yeah,
Yeah.
so mhm.
Yeah, I love that. Oh my God, thank you so much, Autumn. So at the end of my talks, I do mini like kind of like a rapid fire. So I want you to like quickly answer,
Okay.
if you can.
Sure,
So,
sure.
what's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
I sit in silence for a good while, a good
Wow, so
while.
meditation?
Not necessarily meditation, but I'm not quick to, like, really, because I think for a while my brain uses to wake up and start running off stories of what it believe happened yesterday and all that. But when I wake up in the morning, I get really grounded into, like, what's happening outside, like, in my actual direct experience. So, of course, the air conditioner could be running in my room, or, I could be hearing the birds outside or hearing, like, somebody walking their dog outside or something, and I just get so tuned into that, like, actually what's going on in my experience, and I get up and I walk my dog in silence, I don't take my phone, I just do that, and yeah. I just spend so much time yeah, in silence, and I just never think about what happened yesterday. I don't make it like a contender of what's possible for today. It's just when I wake up, it's a totally new might as well be a new reality. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is probably. Yes. Wow. Okay, what's one book that changed your life? I mean, you talked about the Bible.
Yeah, yeah, and A Course in Miracles too. That's good too.
Yes. Yeah. My God, I love this. What's one misconception that you feel like maybe a lot of your clients have or people have about manifestation?
That it's a physical thing, and it's not. It's really your internal world. It's just the remembrance of who you are. Like, that's the manifestation, not the physical thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And the last question I ask everyone is, what is love?
Existing, like existing, just existing. That's love, That's why we're
Yeah.
here. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love this so much. Thank you so much, Autumn, for coming on. I had such a good time and I'm so grateful.
Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that you have had me on. Thank you so much for wanting to talk. I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye.